It's 12:30 at night. We're in the Kharkiv region, staying in the national forest. If you listen carefully, you can hear the bzzz of the drones. Iranian drones being shot and flown by Russia into Ukrainian territory. What's wild about this is that no matter where you are in the country, even somewhere as remote as this, you can see, feel, and hear the threat just flying over your head.
Hey Nate, where are we? Somewhere in between Kyiv and Lviv at the largest gas station in all of Europe.
This place is hilarious. It's smaller than an average rest stop in America.
Yeah, it's definitely if you're on an interstate, this is much smaller. And I don't think there's a single Twizzler in the entire country.
Yeah. Toys for the kids.
Toys for the kids. And look, there's some monks. Ooh, there's some monks. Some cute kids playing.
Да, тут шляпа, короче, пизда, куча гражданских, машини горять. Ми бігаємо, ставимо турики, короче, пацани.
So about 2 hours after we were sitting at that rest stop eating pizza, there was a massive explosion about 50 meters across the street. Multiple fatalities reported, and then a secondary explosion right next to the gas station. Keep in mind, this is a totally civilian area. There were children eating and playing right next to us. It happens to be that NATO equipment like tanks do get transported on that road. But other than that, this is a totally civilian area. Like there was a literal village across from this gas station. This is life in Ukraine. This is what they experience every single day.
Because Russian forces control our sky in this area.
So there are Russians in the sky?
Yes, there are people flying in the sky in this area. So limit of our towns or villages not in the movie, okay?
So we're an FPV.
Out of the major headline tonight in the war in Ukraine, for the first time, a group of Ukrainian soldiers will now come to the U.S. to train at Fort Sill in Oklahoma.
So, we ready?
Tell me about your training in Germany.
Yes, I think that was a good experience because doctrine of American troops so interesting. But I can say about the knowledge what I get there and what I drive with me in Germany. It's doctrines, American doctrines we can use in our area because we have a different war. American have more powerful weapon, more powerful troops, and they so slowly. Our combat say about it must be quickly, must working in small groups, because we can reorganize us at a short time. And technologies what I get from Germany different is my work what I do here. There we learn doctrine infantry. Here we use doctrine of Pepela, light fight, kamikaze, drones. It's a different kind of work.
Okay, so we're gonna go see what they're telling me is what used to be a Russian outpost. big battle here?
Yeah. Summer 2020. Look, there was a bridge, and he was destroyed. They was go away from this territory and detonated this bridge.
This bridge right here?
Destroyed, yeah, this bridge.
The Russians.
Yeah.
Now they're rebuilding it. Do you guys ever get to weekend off, go party? Do you ever get holiday?
No. Well, after our missions.
After mission?
Yeah, we have some holiday.
You come to the city?
Yeah. Some rest.
So,
We go to buy food to our mission transition.
what do you want to buy?
Sausages, maybe potatoes, chips, yeah, of course. Some Coca-Cola, and energy, yeah. Cigarettes, yeah, of course.
Video you're seeing right now is from Kharkiv. This is the result of bombing that's the second largest city in Ukraine. It is office buildings, it is residential buildings. That is the result of strikes by the Russian military.
We just got to Kharkiv. We are 50 kilometers from the Russian front line, and we just got a siren. We've actually just been here for about 5 minutes.
Так, кожну ніч є страх того, що може прилетіти ракета на дім, на мій район. Це дуже жахливо, коли ти не можеш спати, тому що ти чуєш вибухи, ти чуєш, як обстрілюють наше місто, ти стараєшся не думати о цьому, але кожну ніч тобі приходиться це переживати та надіятися, щоб нічого не случилось, нічого не було ні з тобою, ні з твоєю сім'єю, ні з ким з твоїх рідних. Та хотілося б, щоб ні з ким з Харкова не було. Це те і в Україні.
It was a residential building, yeah.
That's that same building, City Hall of Kharkiv. 1.5 million people live here, and it's just 50 kilometers from the Russian front line. And honestly, life seems really normal. But then you look closer. All the windows around the city are boarded up. And it makes sense because we've been here for maybe an hour, and we've already experienced 2 sirens.
This is like a symbolic place in Kharkiv because of this rocket that landed just here on the square. But this was exactly place where the rocket landed. It was like a symbolic of resistance of the city.
Russia tonight is trying to claw back territory in eastern Ukraine using indiscriminate attacks, bombing a market in Kharkiv and this cultural center. Ukraine's President Zelensky saying there were 7 victims, including an 11-year-old.
Russians before the war, they planned that Kharkiv will open the door for the Russian invaders and they will take city very easy, but it's not. It was very heavy fighting in the outskirts of Kharkiv. It was not surprise for me, but it was surprise for Russians because they expected that Russian-speaking Ukrainians will open all doors and let them Russian tanks be in the city. It doesn't matter that 80% of people in Kharkiv speaks Russian, but they defended her city like Ukrainian citizens that love Ukraine, love her country.
Особисто я планую тут далі жити і розвиватися саме тут. І подавати, можливо, якусь свою справу саме в цьому місці. Буду полежати, збираюсь. Мабуть, те ж саме. Чекаємо закінчення війни, а потім будемо відбудовувати місто, відкривати свою справу і так далі.
The city is digging underground. The important facilities and important institutions like school, hospitals are digging in underground because of the intensive fire and immediate fire from Russian side. So we're gonna see.
So you're saying life goes on, but underground?
Yeah. Schools, yeah, universities are trying to go underground.
So we're right here. Zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. That's Russia right there.
What's the scale there?
About 32 kilometers
Drive?
road. Yeah,
38 minutes.
we're close.
So I'm actually inside the school now that the Russians had taken and turned into their special forces base at the beginning of the war. Taking back this school from the Russian special forces was the first victory the Ukrainians had of the whole war. Until then, it had just seemed hopeless. So, despite the destruction, this school is actually a symbol of strength. There's some other people hanging out. Hello. Yeah. Oh, really? This is your school? Oh, okay. Hello.
Зараз я не бачу майбутнього під час війни, тому що всяке може бути. Мабуть, в мій дом, не дай Бог, попаде ракета і все. Оп! В мене не може бути будущого. І все. А так? Я не знаю.
А ви?
Я поки теж не бачу майбутнього за війни, то що ти сидиш, думаєш, в будь-який момент може десь рядом впасти це все. Страшно.
А ви що думаєте?
Да, те ж саме. Страшно вона, якщо поруч прилетить. Так що так.
They think it will ever end. Як ви думаєте, коли війна може закінчитися? І ще закінчиться взагалі?
Я не думаю, що вона скоро закінчиться, і не думаю, що вона закінчиться зовсім. Тому що, я не знаю, як сказати.
А ви?
Я теж так думаю, що війна не закінчиться, я думаю, але так як прильоти такі сильні. Я хочу, коли вирости, піти воювати за свою страну, за свою волю, бути свободним,
А ви як?
захищати.
Та я теж думаю, що вона не закінчиться.
Ask if they think that the world cares about Ukraine.
Як ви думаєте, чи світ піклується про Україну, допомагає Україні, чи їм байдуже все?
Я думаю, що хтось так і допомагає якось. Ракети доставляє до України, якось допомагає.
Чи цього є достатньо для перемоги?
Я не думаю.
Які ваші мрії про майбутнє? Ким ви хочете стати?
Я хочу, якщо війна так і не закінчиться, піти воювати за свою родину, відстоювати її. А якщо війна закінчиться, то думаю піти ветеринаром, допомагати всяким бродуючим собакам, кішкам, посеред.
А ви?
Якщо війна не закінчиться, я хочу піти на тероборону, захищати, а якщо закінчиться, то перекорем.
А ви?
Я хочу на стоматолога піти.
Лікар. Чи є в колі ваших знайомих, друзів, родичів, військові, які загинули? Або хто внаслідок обстрілу втратив там житло, втратив, наприклад, рідних?
В мене був прадід, він воював у Другій міровій.
А от зараз в тій війні?
У мене зараз батько воює, але він ще не помер.
Я
не хочу, щоб він помирав.
А у вас?
У мене 2 місяці тому на війні батько загинув.
Батько забув від суди.
А де він був сам?
Бахмут та під Сумами.
Як ви батька згадуєте?
У мене є з ним фото. Я зараз можу навіть йду показати.
I was like 2 months ago in the Frontline. Oh, yeah.
Ні, в мене нема, але у моєї мами є фото. Ми, коли його привезли до нас, нам дали його фото з війни. Воно у нас там стоїть на прихожій з свічками, і ми так дивимося.
Які, скажімо, про війну такі найбільш неприємні моменти у вас згадуються?
Коли рядом поруч з моєю будівлею прилетіла ракета, осколок чуть ли не дістав мій дом. Він за декілька метрів впав. Дуже страшно було. Тому що, слава Богу, що в мій дом не попало. Я дуже дякую за це, то що воно не попало. Ось.
Ми з подругами там грали в ярку схованки. Грали, ми лягли в ярку, сховалися. Прилетіла бомба, почало все розлітатися, почали осколки летіти. Це все таке. Ну, слава Богу, що все обійшлось, нас там забрали в безпечне місце.
Чи ви боїтеся?
Так, дуже. А в початку війни я дуже боялась, тому що кожен день чуть ли не поруч з моїм домом прилітало. Я весь час бігала з батьками у підвал. Воно свистіло дуже громко і падало рядом. Було дуже страшно. Я думала, все, це кінець. Це кінець моєму житті. Ось це.
А для вас ви боїтесь?
Так, дуже. То, що ми з мамою були раніше в селі, жили. В перший місяць війни заїхали окупанти, там вони почали стріляти. Ми з дідусем були в підвалі ночами, щоб це все проминуло нас.
Як окупанти до вас відносились?
Незграбно. Могли взагалі навіть пригрозити, що застрелять, якщо не так щось зробити.
Sophia, the redhead. Father died 2 weeks ago. She had a look in her eye, man. That was tough.
Це мій найкращий друг Женя. Ми з ним навчалися з 5 класу в місті Лисичанську. Женя теж із Лисичанська, з Луганської області. У нього також позивний Лис був. Тільки у Дмитра Фокса цей українською Лис. Він дуже класний був хлопець, я обожнювала. Ми всі перерви сміялися, співали пісні. Дуже близько дружили, хто б з ким не зустрічався, ми завжди були разом. І навіть в перші дні, я пам'ятаю, що спілкувалися, і я дуже сумую за ним, Жені дуже не вистачає, мені іноді хочеться йому подзвонити, не знаю, відправити якийсь прикол, тому що це просто людина сміх. От як я, так і він, тільки він такий ще по-хлопчачому. Це Сережа, брат двоюрідної моєї близької подружки. Він загинув теж в 23-му році, за день до мого дня народження. І моя подружка їхала до мене на день народження, а приїхала до брата на похорон. На жаль, Сережа загинув від мінно-вибухової травми, він лежав в комі. тиждень чи два, ну, типу, багато. І, на жаль, так і не вийшов із коми. Теж усміхнений, класний чувак був. Я пам'ятаю, Марина багато про нього розповідала, що він, ну, такий теж чуйний, веселий, гарний усміхнений хлопець. Що. Світ нації. Пішов з перших днів теж захищати Україну після повномасштабного вторгнення. Ну і тепер бачимо квіти друзів, рідних, всіх, хто пам'ятає Сергія. А, у нього був позивний смайлик навіть, подивіться.
This actually was Russian-occupied territory, and behind me is a minefield. These demining machines are capable of covering over 10,000 square meters a day. They often find over 100 mines, and this is super important work because fields like this are often farms. And so not only does it kill men, women, and children, but the farmers can't work, and that shuts down a crucial part of the economy and supply chain. Always they have sappers and engineers coming after to do manual inspections, which obviously is dangerous work, but that's always to make sure and confirm that all the mines are cleared before the farmers can come back and keep doing their work.
Now, a lot of attention is being focused on the east of Ukraine, particularly around the Donbas region. Just tell us what the latest situation is there at the moment.
Bit of a sticky situation, guys. We just left the safe house and the road we were supposed to take is under drone attack. Our fixer-producer had to take out the drone jammer, which we hadn't taken out before. And while we were driving, we're going through this place called Donbas. Johnny took out ChatGPT and had it run a risk analysis. It literally was saying, unless you're like the Red Cross, do not go here. We're seeing howitzers, which is artillery, under camouflage on our left and our right. So this really isn't a situation we wanted to get into. The reality is when you're in a hostile environment, a war zone, things are going to change, things are going to go wrong. We saw F-16s flying low, probably looking to give close air support. So we're trying to get out of here as quick as possible. The road is total junk. Normally this road is under a lot more threat, drone attacks, FPV drone attacks. I think we have less than 20 seconds if there's a ballistic missiles to find cover. So we're trying to get out of here. This is not where we want to be at all.
The Ukrainian army desperately needs to enlist more troops, but more than 2 years into the war is struggling to find willing volunteers.
We're at a typical checkpoint in Ukraine, and what they're really looking for are draft dodgers. There's an increasing amount of people trying to avoid going into the military, and they have lists. So they're looking for men, and many of them, they'll just randomly stop you to see those papers. The only time we've actually had to use our press passes is when we're going into combat zones, and they're stopping normal civilians from entering. We see these types of memorials all over the country, and this one really gives a sense of how many casualties there are. A reported 70,000 dead, with 35,000 missing, and there's just pictures that go down this entire block.
The U.S. is stopping some military aid to Ukraine. It's unclear how long this pause will last. The Pentagon just held a briefing saying it's part of a larger review in the Department of Defense.
What do you think Americans should know about this war?
Знаєте, я думаю, що от самі Збройні сили США, наприклад, так, вони знають більше, ніж ті самі політики. Так? Ну, тобто я аполітична людина, тобто я не розумію дуже сильно. От, але мені здається, що Трамп хоче устріти на двох стульях, скажімо, да? І в нього це, ну, на мій погляд, дуже погано виходить. Я думаю, що йому треба більш прислухатися до нашого президента та, зокрема, до Євросоюзу. Те, що вони кажуть йому, тобто і натякають, дуже прямим текстом кажуть, що Росія – це terrorist state.
After months of preparations, the Russian President Vladimir Putin has launched a major military operation against Ukraine.
Образование и привело вообще вот к этой войне. Отсутствие исторического образования на Украине.
I was talking to my producer Johnny about this, and the best analogy for this war that we can come up with is if Mexico just woke up one day and decided that they were going to take back Texas. There's the cultural and language parallels, and there's a shared history. But those Texans, they're not going anywhere. We were actually interviewing some soldiers. Like, these are hardcore Ukrainians, and they saw that parallel as well.
Тобто лишилась тільки помста. Все, більш нічого. Ніякого, знаєте, як кажуть, треба поважати свого ворога. 50-50. Є за що поважати, так, вони сильні, вони розумні, але я просто їх ненавиджу. Ця війна для мене принципова.
The White House says progress is being made toward ending the Russia-Ukraine war. The Kremlin says that Russian President Vladimir Putin has agreed to meet in coming days with President Trump.
The Americans under Donald Trump are making another serious push to resolve the situation in Ukraine. His envoy, Steve Witkoff, has been in Russia.
President Trump says he's ordered the deployment of 2 U.S. nuclear submarines to the appropriate regions in response to threats from the former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev.
Yeah, this is totally wild, just sitting on a tank in the city center. And it's actually Russian. These are war spoils. And it's kind of a celebration, I suppose, of their survival and their fight against what was considered, top 2 militaries in the world. One of the questions we asked basically every soldier that we spoke to, and a lot of civilians as well, is, where do you see this going? What's the end game? And a lot of people said they have no idea. Some people said when Putin dies, they think it'll end. And we even heard the analogy that they're afraid this is going to turn into a conflict similar to Israel-Palestine that really just doesn't have any sort of realistic conclusion. And it's not unreasonable considering that the Russians, as an authoritarian regime, one, have sacrificed over 1 million men so far. And so it's very clear that they have no regard for their soldiers' lives. And secondly, their resources all go to manufacturing arms. So their focus of their economy is really to fuel this war. So it makes sense that there's no end in sight. And with that, it makes it even more impressive and inspiring to see that these people are motivated. And we even had an American soldier say to us that either this war is going to end or he'll die fighting it because he has no interest in leaving. And you can see that in almost all the soldiers' eyes that we spoke with, that they're dedicated to be in this fight until the end. They don't complain, they have a good attitude. And they told us that they just don't have time or the option to get tired and be fatigued, because if they stop fighting, Ukraine will fall. And if Ukraine falls, they believe the rest of Europe is next.
Артек.